Good morning. This is a reflection on lesson 251 in A Course in Miracles that says, I am in need of nothing but the truth. Is that right? I am in need of nothing but the truth. And it talks about how, at the start of this section of lessons, it talks about sin and there really is no such thing. And if we believe it, that's what actually keeps us away from love, away from acceptance, away from our true nature, who we really are, which is our soul self. So what this made me think of is I'm in need of nothing but the truth is, of course, I'm listening to another podcast and it comes up where it's talking about, I listened to everything from like super sciencey stuff to super spiritual stuff. So the full spectrum of everything. This one happened to be on the more, I think it was a channeling. So it was on the more like beyond the human self, like the spiritual self. So, and it was talking about how, like we choose to have this human experience. So we're still a soul, just incarnated here to have this human experience, which the nature of our experience here in a human body is one of separation, really. And I've heard somebody else, I love the phrase, like our like goal here, what we choose to come here to do is to gradually awaken from that dream of separation, because this is all like, you'll hear people talk about this is actually the dream world and our true reality is this spiritual world. So if you believe in that spiritual slant, that story, then, and it rings true for me, because everything here, it's like we always internally know, like if we have that desire for more, like we're not living up to our fullest potential. And that doesn't mean in the material world, like, oh, my job, my material wealth, whatever. It means like my best version of me, my most open, my most loving, my most connected, my most in alignment with what I feel like I was meant to be doing something here, and I feel like I'm not on the path. Like we're constantly trying to orient and get on that path. Once we awaken to that like if we have that drive, that, I don't know, that desire that I'm just not, something doesn't, I feel like I'm not exactly aligned, and then we take those baby steps to get aligned, and we don't know the full picture. A lot of us, some people come in and know exactly, I guess, but let's say, well, I'm one of those people who doesn't know what my fullest potential is, and yet I have this desire to keep getting into alignment more and more, and that's a resonance in my own body. I feel, okay, this feels better, this feels more on the path. Still not there, but I feel like I'm orienting, like, oh, my direction, I'm narrowing in on that direction. And this podcast channeling, whatever, talked about how we don't have to know the full picture. It's basically we get the information we're meant to receive and the time we're meant to receive it, because they're little nudges back on in that direction. We may not be ready for the ultimate expression of who we are, because energetically we need to go through those baby steps in order to keep recalibrating our energy toward that, if that makes sense. So that's sort of on the spiritual slant of things, and it's that really rings true for me, like in my reality. I was thinking about how even, and they talk about timelines, right? You hear of all this. That to me feels like, what does timeline mean? And I'm, like we're all like, get on your best timeline. It's like the word gets tossed around a lot when you start down this path. And so I'm like, what's that? I'm always trying to get to the reality of like what things mean to me. And to me, that means like, when I reflect back even just a few years ago, before I made this leap over to body work and the energy work and nervous system work and healing work, whatever you want to call it, I was a business and technology consultant running on fumes. Like my adrenals were like cortisol. And I was just burnt out over and over and over again. And each time I had a major burnout moment, those were wake up calls to me. My body was like, "Let's get on the right path." Like all of that experience I take with me. It has informed everything I do, and I'm really grateful for all those experiences and what it taught me. So that was part of my journey. But those deep, energetic, body sense felt sensations of like your body's screaming at you, because our bodies really are like, we're meant to be in a body, we're meant to use them as like tuning forks, so like to what resonates and what doesn't. And those wake up calls were like, whoa, that does not resonate anymore, but I didn't know what did. And so I just throw myself into like new situations that felt better than that. And those were my little calibrations. Now I may be a slow learner. It took me like 30 plus years of reorienting, little nudges. Some were big nudges. But then I'm like thinking back to just a few years ago where I was like, whoa, if you think about timelines, if I kept going on that timeline, meaning path, that's what a timeline means to me. Like they're conscious or sometimes not so conscious choices that progress you down a series of steps that keep going in a certain direction. Well, I finally got a big enough wrong resonance, like not the good kind. I was like, I'm done. Didn't know what was next, but I knew I wasn't going to keep choosing to go down that path, that timeline. And then I waited for what was to emerge. I don't know how it came to me, but I seriously do not remember the exact thoughts that said, you need to go into body work, into like this field. I don't even remember. And I get laughed at by my friends, the coworker or people in this field who are now my friends and coworkers in the body work space. They're like, you don't even remember? Because most people remember like exactly what brought them into this. I'm like, I honestly don't remember the exact thoughts, but I'm so grateful I did, because now I'm like, when you think about, I could have kept going decision by decision down that path, and then it was like, nope. No, shoot. And then I'm still making little calibrations. So that's what this lesson made me think of. What was even the title of this lesson? I don't need anything but the truth. And so all of that, bring it back home. And the truth is what? It's our like internal navigation system. That's what I feel like it's talking about, is like, it's not thoughts about what you're supposed to be doing, especially if you haven't thought about your bigger nature, your spiritual nature, and maybe why you came to be in this body in the first place. But to me, I think like that because it helps me reorient to my truth. Like this physical world is just meant to like, we're meant to like bump into things and like experience challenges, because each little challenge helps us grow or make a different, better choice. Better meaning more aligned with what our true nature is. Like, what are we? Because we each have a different kind of truth to us. Like, there's a larger truth, yeah, but then there's like, mine is different than yours is different than theirs, etc. And it's like, well, it's my truth. The only way I know it is by listening to my body. What resonates, what doesn't, and then making those little recalibrations to get onto further along the more aligned path. I don't even know what's coming, and I'm kind of glad. Like you wouldn't want to know what's coming, right? This also made me think about how there's no need to keep asking for what we want, because do we really know what we want? I feel like instead of asking, like when you ask for something, you're acknowledging like, oh, I am separate from what I want, like what I'm asking for. There's a distance there. I wouldn't have to ask if I already had it. And so what this also makes me think of is that we already have everything we need. It's more like we're just needing to remember that it's already here, and then live as if we already have it, because we have it, whatever it is. We don't need to keep asking. We just need to keep letting go, receiving, just letting go of all of this. Those thoughts are what keep us feeling separate from. And it's more of an energetic thing, I think. It's like, well, shouldn't you strive for things? Shouldn't you want things? Shouldn't you? But it's like, energetically, you take it into that energetic dimension. It's like, it just means we're separate from it if we keep asking for it, right? And then we keep getting bummed that we feel like we don't have it, and therefore we need to keep asking for it, and no one's listening because we're not getting it, and it's this whole spiral of negativity, right? So anyway, those are all the random thoughts this lesson made me think of. I am in need of nothing but the truth. Yeah.